Hello, Michael from Allsburn Activism. Donald Trump has initiated his war for climate change. It's making it easier to use fossil fuels, and he has removed the requirement that federal agencies should keep in mind what effects their decisions have on climate change. Because that's how you truly make America great again, by ignorance. Now, when I talked about the election between Trump and Hillary Clinton, I criticized how Christians just seemed to have America in mind. You know, their focus was things like, how will this impact the court and how will this impact the freedom of Christians in America, rather than thinking about how will this impact aid, the climate, and every single country apart from the United States in the world. And so I doubt that the American Christians who voted for and supported Trump denies climate change. Some of them do, certainly, but I think a lot of them don't. They just don't seem to care that much about that. And some might think, why would they? Does the Bible talk about climate change? I think not. But if this is a real issue, and let's just assume that for a moment, let's assume that the majority of scientists have a correct view on this, then obviously we should care about it, because climate change will kill hundreds of millions of people. And I find it very hard to think that, you know, avoiding persecution is more important than avoiding letting 100 million people die, because Christians should expect to be persecuted. It's not like the Bible says at all costs avoid persecution. On the contrary, the Bible says that any genuine believer will be persecuted. It's not really something you get away from. But let me then address those Christians who do think that, you know, climate change is a hoax, as Trump said, invented by the Chinese, or, you know, the science isn't real, and, you know, the skeptical scientists have more support on their side, they have better arguments, and so on. I would simply ask them, why do you believe that? Because you can't just point to, look, here's a scientist saying that climate change isn't real, because you will have many more scientists saying that it is real and that humans contribute to climate change. And it might be hard for Americans to see this, but out here in the rest of the world, we don't have much of a problem accepting the climate science, because we don't have any reasons not to. And compare this with the evolution versus creation debate. I think it's understandable that many Christians say evolution is wrong, because even though I don't agree with their interpretation of the Bible, I see why they want to have a literalistic reading of Genesis, and so they find problems with the contemporary science. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is when Christians say, hey, that climate change science is a bunch of crap and we should not believe in that. What are the incentives of even saying that? Why is that a trend, Christians denying climate change science? It makes a lot of sense that those who run organizations driven by cheap fossil fuel do. And so what I think we see here is Christianity being intertwined with capitalism to the degree that it has become sort of a Christian view to either say that climate change is a hoax or that it isn't important. I mean, the biblical support for denying climate change are horrible. Some people say, well, the God promised not to drown the earth again, and that's why he put the rainbow up. But, you know, climate change isn't about drowning the entire earth. It is about millions of people dying because of changed weather. There's nothing in the Bible that says that we will have eternal growth. There's a lot in the Bible that indicates that the man-made project of Babylon will collapse. I guess the only way a Christian can rationalize to deny climate change is to say, well, Christians should stand for truth. And it simply is the truth that climate change is wrong. But again, what's your basis for saying that it's true? Pointing to a climate scientist saying climate change is a hoax doesn't lead you very far, because there are also scientists who agree that climate change is real and that it's man-made, and that have just as much credentials, in fact I would say even more, and they are in a majority. Obviously, if you are a climate change denier, I don't think this video will change your mind, but I just want to put out the challenge to you. Why have you reached that position? Because for me, as a non-American, it doesn't make any sense. I can't see from the scriptures or just my own theological thinking why I would reach the conclusion that human greed will not end in disaster. Thank you for watching.